Tensions on the rise in that country right now. Police and protesters clashing in the streets. At least one person is known to have died. There's 3 days of mass rallies being called by the opposition. Our own Zane Verjee was caught up in the turmoil. She's with us now. Zane, you got a little bit too close to the story today. What happened?
A little too close, Jim. Really, it was a day of drama, confrontation, and brutality. There were running battles all over the country, here in the capital, Nairobi, as well as in western Kenya, in the town of Kisumu, at the coast in Mombasa, and as well in the town of Eldoret. Police were firing tear gas at demonstrators out on the streets. The opposition here has called for 3 days of mass protests. They've been accusing the government of rigging and stealing the election. Opposition leaders, too, Jim, tried to get into Uhuru Park that was ringed by police and paramilitary forces, and they got tear gas fired on them. They scattered, and they ended up being holed for a few hours at hotels all over the city before they regrouped. Paramilitary forces at the same park they were trying to get to, Uhuru Park, fired on journalists as well, including CNN. Here's what happened.
Opposition supporters and security forces appear braced for another confrontation. On this side, supporters of Raila Odinga saying that he is really the president. They want to march into Uhuru Park. In Uhuru Park, if you take a look there, what you see is hundreds of police and paramilitary forces. They've just added another truck now in for reinforcements. They've been firing tear gas canisters at both supporters of the opposition leaders themselves, and journalists as well. They are beginning to make their move, and it's very likely that from the other side, they will start firing back. They hit my...
Okay.
Yeah.
Don't run. One get this. Take it. Good job. They shot you?
Yeah.
Shot.
They shot me here in the back, yeah.
John was hit your head, huh?
Yeah.
Are you okay?
Yeah, it's okay, I'm standing.
Sorry.
Hakuna shida.
All over the country, Jim, there was a huge amount of police brutality. We even heard of some old ladies who were selling tomatoes being tear gassed by the police and security forces here. The police spokesman here, though, Jim, telling journalists that they had to be really tough today because they don't want a situation where looters take advantage of the situation and start destroying Nairobi the way they destroyed a city like Kisumu. Jim?
Zane, just to be clear here, you know, we see that object hitting you in the back. What was that?
That was a tear gas canister that hit me on one of my shoulder blades. It stung a little bit, but we continued working when that happened, and the cameraman managed to keep the shot fairly steady, but that's what that was. And shortly after they fired that, and we dispersed, they continued to do so a number of times. They also brought in horses at one point and tried to get us out of the way using horses, but we all stayed and stayed put. Jim?
You've got, what, 2 more days at least of this coming up now?
Yeah, 2 more days. The opposition says that it wants to use the streets, to use their card of civil disobedience to pressure the government in some way, either to compromise a deal and work with the opposition leader, Raila Odinga, and come to some sort of genuine power-sharing deal. The opposition is saying they want peaceful demonstrations, and they are accusing the police of provoking violence. But the police are saying it's the demonstrators, it's the looting element, and that could really destabilize this country. I've talked to a lot of Kenyans, Jim, who are just fed up. You know, they say they want their leaders to just get on with it and to compromise. And underlying all of this is a real issue of poverty in the country. And they say that needs to be addressed. Forget the tribal issues. Forget the wrangling over power now. They say just get on with it.
Zane Verjee reporting for us live there from the Kenyan capital, Nairobi. Zane, thank you very much for that, and stay safe.